Vancouver or Vancouver? I mean, what do you really want to call this town? Their latest attempt to decide what citizens can and can't have, it has people scratching their heads.
Number 20, Guy Fawkes Masks, banned by Saudi Arabia.
This has become the face of the modern protester.
Originally created by illustrator David Lloyd for the graphic novel V for Vendetta, this mask, with its distinctive mustache and apparently sinister look, has since taken on a different meaning. After it was featured in the 2006 movie adaptation, the Guy Fawkes mask became a Halloween costume staple. But it also found new purpose among various protest movements.
We saw it on the streets of Turkey this week, worn en masse by airline workers, but by many others too.
Seeking to curb such demonstrations, Saudi Arabia imposed a ban on the masks in 2013, arguing that it, quote, instills a culture of violence and extremism in young people. Although Bahrain first introduced a similar ban months prior, Saudi Arabia escalated measures by not only outlawing the import of the masks, but also confiscating any existing stock. Number 19, European-made cheese, banned by Russia.
French cheeses, Italian olive oils, Spanish hams. Russians have got used to eating the same food as their Western neighbours. But that's about to stop.
In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea, a region of Ukraine, triggering widespread condemnation and prompting several Western countries to impose sanctions. In retaliation, Vladimir Putin banned the importation of dairy products from the EU, among other measures. As a result, French, Italian, and Swiss cheese, which once dominated the shelves in Russia, were seized and destroyed by the authorities.
The bust of a major cheese smuggling ring, which officials say illegally earned millions of dollars.
This move may have been bad for cheese lovers in the country, as their favorite products not only became scarce, but they also saw a rise in counterfeit cheeses flooding the market. However, the ban seemingly benefited local farmers by stimulating increased domestic cheese production to fill the gap left by the embargo. Number 18, Japanese shaving brushes, banned by St. Lucia. If you're planning a trip to the Caribbean island of St. Lucia, you might want to check your shaving brush to ensure it's not made in Japan. That's right, shaving brushes produced in or exported from Japan are highly prohibited in St. Lucia. This unusual regulation dates all the way back to the early 1900s, when there was an anthrax contamination scandal linked to shaving brushes imported from Japan. In a bid to prevent a recurrence, the Caribbean nation enacted a ban on such products. Even after more than a century, this ban remains in place, despite Japan's repeated efforts to reassure St. Lucia of the brush's safety.
I think all a man needs in life is a close shave, a cold beer, and maybe a faithful dog.
Number 17, Vicks inhalers, banned by Japan. Need to get rid of a blocked nose while vacationing in Japan? Well, we hate to break it to you, but using a Vicks inhaler wouldn't be one of your options.
To get fast relief from a blocked nose. Vicks Inhaler. Fast relief from a blocked nose anytime, anywhere.
That's because the product falls under a category of over-the-counter medications that are considered illegal in the country. While Japan permits visitors to bring in some drugs for personal use, those containing stimulants are prohibited due to its anti-stimulant drug laws. Since Vicks inhalers are a prime example of such products, they are effectively banned from being sold or brought into the country. So, if you can't find a suitable alternative, you might have to endure that blocked nose longer than expected.
Get your head right down onto that. Breathe it in real deep. 10 minutes of that, you'll be clear as a bell, no worries.
Number 16, lace underwear, banned by Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. This one probably came as bad news to couples looking to spice things up in the bedroom. Back in 2014, the customs union overseeing Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan implemented regulations banning the production and import of lace underwear.
For many, it's yet another example of the misguided economic policies that have become a trademark of many post-Soviet countries.
If you thought this was due to concerns about modesty, then you'd be wrong. The regulation's true aim was to ensure that any clothing in direct contact with the skin contained at least 6% cotton, to protect consumers against skin problems. As many lacy lingerie failed to meet that requirement, they were banned from being sold. While it was apparently implemented for health reasons, the ban triggered protests in Kazakhstan. leading to the arrest of several women.
Why are you afraid of panties? She shouts. Freedom to panties as she's forced into a police van.
Number 15. Wheelbarrows and Carts, banned by Lagos, Nigeria. In 2018, the government of Lagos, Nigeria's second most populous state, issued a ban on the use of wheelbarrows and carts in public spaces. According to authorities, this measure aims to crack down on those who operate the devices for profit. Referred to as wheelbarrow and cart pushers, these individuals were reportedly notorious for illegally dumping waste in canals, which exacerbated the state's already existing flooding issues.
The activities of some illegal waste disposal carriers, otherwise called cart pushers, often destabilize its efforts of ensuring a cleaner Lagos.
Although this regulation does not directly affect private residents, those who patronize the operators could also face arrest and prosecution.
As for these ones who claim to have done nothing wrong, the agency says they will be tried in accordance with the law.
The ban was part of the Cleaner Lagos initiative, which aimed to prioritize environmental cleanliness of the state. Number 14. Yellow T-shirts, banned by Malaysia. In 2015, after reports surfaced that then Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak had received $700 million in his personal bank account, protests erupted calling for his resignation.
This rally had a stern message for the Prime Minister. Malaysians want transparency.
Thousands took to the streets wearing bright yellow T-shirts emblazoned with the words Bersih 4. In the Malay language, Bersih translates to clean.
It's an accumulation of frustration that for 58 years we've been asking for accountability, and still we don't get it.
Just before the demonstrations began, former Home Minister Ahmed Zahid Hamidi banned the wearing of these shirts. However, protesters openly disregarded this order, flooding the streets with their Bersih 4 tees. Despite the controversy surrounding the ban, it was later upheld by a Malaysian high court. The judge deemed the yellow shirts a national security threat and imposed a fine of over $1,000 on anyone found wearing them. Number 13. Water guns, banned by Cambodia. The Cambodian New Year, also called the Khmer New Year, is an annual 3-day celebration in April that attracts millions from around the world. A common tradition during this festival is splashing water on people, often with toy guns. Unfortunately, this practice has caused numerous accidents, with reported instances in which the water was replaced with acid and used to attack mainly young women.
The acid attack destroy their life. Like something died, but you're still alive.
Consequently, many regions in Cambodia have implemented bans on water guns, especially during the Khmer New Year celebrations. In 2023, following reports that a foreigner was injured with a water gun, former Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen called for a nationwide ban on the devices. Number 12. Goldfish Bowls, banned by Rome, Italy. Keeping goldfish in spherical bowls is a common practice around the world. But did you know that these bowls are generally considered cruel to the fish?
Allow me to impress upon you the severe mistake you have made.
Back in 2005, this concern led city councilors in Rome, Italy to take action. They voted to ban the use of spherical fish bowls, seemingly influenced by the warnings of animal activists. These activists argue that the bowls do not provide enough oxygen for the fish and could even cause them to go blind.
A dinky single-gallon bowl is much too small. And even the 10-gallon tank you see in every pet store won't cut it. A single adult goldfish needs at least twice that much water to thrive.
Apparently, goldfish welfare wasn't the only issue on the councilors' agenda. On the same day, they also passed legislation making daily dog walks mandatory, with offenders facing a potential fine of $700. Number 11. Unveiled mannequins, banned by Iran. Walk through a shopping mall in almost any country, and you'd see storefronts adorned with mannequins in varying degrees of clothing, and some without any clothes at all. However, this sight would be unlikely in Iran. Back in 2009, in a bid to reinforce conservative Islamic values, authorities in the Middle Eastern nation implemented a ban on female mannequins without a veil, and those revealing body curves. This measure was part of a broader effort to counter perceived Western influences, consistent with former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's agenda to suppress what he deemed, quote, un-Islamic behavior. Subsequently, in 2014, Iran's cultural ministry introduced Islamic mannequins, which were deemed suitable for public display. Number 10. Furbies, banned by the NSA.
A stuffy office.
More Furbies, more fun.
Remember those lovable robotic toys from your childhood? Well, you might be remembering them wrong, because these hamster or owl-like creatures went on to become less lovable.
We've got to get rid of those Furbies. They've turned feral.
This is because of the Furbies' almost human-like ability to start speaking English as they, quote-unquote, grew.
The more you play, the more they do. And say.
Unfortunately, the National Security Agency came to believe that the pre-programmed English words the Furbies said were the result of their repeating words they heard. In 1999, this led the NSA to ban the toy from their headquarters in fear that it was also a recording device with the potential to repeat classified information in public. However, the ban was ultimately removed when this was revealed to be a myth. Number 9. Wearing high heels at ancient sites, banned by Greece. It's always important to know what kind of shoes to wear to certain places.
The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel.
No. We'll do a redo.
If you plan to visit any of the historical sites in Greece, then you must leave your high heels behind. In 2009, the government of Greece enforced a regulation banning individuals from wearing high heels to any of its ancient monuments. This ban was implemented due to concerns that pointed heels were damaging the delicate surfaces of the centuries-old structures, and also to ensure the longevity of the landmarks for future generations. Violators could face a potential fine of up to 771 British pounds. So unless you're ready to part with that, it's probably best to just stick with sneakers. Number 8. Online video games, banned by South Korea. Seeking to curtail one of its leading sources of video game obsession, South Korea took a swing at PC gaming.
There's a dark side to South Korea's gaming culture. Video game addiction is widely regarded as a major social problem.
As part of the government's efforts to fight the gaming mania, they introduced the Cinderella Law in 2011, which sadly has nothing to do with glass slippers and handsome princes, and more to do with ending your adventures at midnight. Also called the Shutdown Law, it blocks access to online games for people under 16 from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Activists argue the law violates children's civil rights, and many parents resent what they regard as government intrusion.
In 2014, the law was eased to allow parents to decide whether or not they wanted the law to apply to their children, which is a saving grace for you night owl gamers. Number 7. Baby walkers, banned by Canada. In 2004, Canada officially banned this seemingly harmless tool for toddlers, following a 15-year voluntary ban on retailers. Seems like the device might not be so harmless after all, as baby walkers, meant to help babies learn to walk faster, can actually have the opposite effect and delay the process by 2 to 3 weeks.
And basically, this is because babies are being put into a different developmental stage than where they're physically at.
Then there are all those preventable injuries. Canada was the first country to ban walkers. And if you think you'd be able to get one secondhand, well, that's illegal too. If you're caught with one, you could be fined up to 100,000 Canadian dollars or spend 6 months in jail. Yikes.
Do not get a walker because you want your baby's muscles to develop the way they're supposed to without contraptions.
Number 6. Chewing gum, banned by Singapore.
How do I know this isn't a treasure map just waiting to be unfurled?
Because it's gum.
That's gum.
Yeah.
This ban was proposed in 1983 because gum was being used to vandalize mailboxes, high-rise apartments, keyholes, and elevator buttons. It wasn't until 1987 that things got serious, though, with people using gum on the new railway system, the MRT. Gum was used to block sensors and prevent doors from closing, which cost a pretty penny to repair. In 1992, the new Prime Minister put the ban into effect. And today, the only gum allowed in Singapore is dental or nicotine gum, which is prescribed by a doctor. Being caught with gum can lead to a fine or imprisonment. and just spitting it out in public carries a $700 fine. Number 5. Flip-flops, banned by Capri, Italy. Flip-flop, flip-flop. Sure, this sounds annoying, but folks on the Italian island of Capri took their annoyance to the next level and banned flip-flops altogether.
Run him down!
I can't run! I'm wearing flip-flops!
The beach shoes fell under the category of noisy footwear, which isn't allowed under risk of a fine or arrest. So please keep those clogs at home too. It's one of the many bans in Italy aimed at preserving public security. Building sandcastles, collecting seashells, playing ball games, kissing in a car, and wearing miniskirts are all forbidden as well in different areas. Still, that probably won't stop anyone from vacationing on Capri's beautiful beaches.
Capri sounds nice.
Number 4. Blue jeans, banned by North Korea. Western culture may not always be the best influence when it comes to certain things, but who can argue with the utility and comfort of blue jeans? Well, Kim Jong-un, that's who. In an attempt to minimize the influence of Western fashion, North Korea's leader banned blue jeans in the country.
I want blue jeans. You're getting slacks!
While it is a nationwide ban, it will primarily be enforced in the areas closest to the Chinese border, where American culture can sneak in. The ban also extends to all piercings, including ears. It might be just another day in North Korea, but to a democratic nation, the ban seems unbelievable.
This is America. You want to live in North Korea? You can live in North Korea. I don't want to. I want to live in America.
Number 3. Kinder eggs, banned by the USA.
2 Seattle men found out the hard way the candy they bought in Canada is illegal here in the United States.
Warning. This entry may contain small parts of nonsense and could cause a confusion hazard. Adult supervision advised. The ban on Kinder Surprise eggs actually goes back to a 1938 act that prohibits candy with a non-nutritive substance embedded in it to be sold in the USA. Thanks to possible choking hazards and the fact that they're only suitable for children over 3 years of age, Kinder Surprises cannot be sold in the country. The eggs can't even be brought into America, and fines are reportedly set at $300 to $2,500 per egg.
I read somewhere that like 80,000 of them were confiscated last year. I mean, just think of the wasted time and effort.
How's that for a Kinder Surprise? While the U.S. is the only country to have banned the chocolate, there have been a number of deaths worldwide associated with choking on a Kinder egg. Number 2. Doorknobs, banned by Vancouver, Canada.
Vancouver or Vancouver? I mean, what do you really want to call this town? Their latest attempt to decide what citizens can and can't have, it has people scratching their heads.
Aside from paving the way for low-flush toilets and LED light bulbs, Vancouver is also the first Canadian city to ban doorknobs. This has been done in the hopes that people won't get stuck in whatever room they're in, with levers being used to open doors instead.
Vancouver is the only city in Canada that has the authority to make its own building codes. Also on the banning block for Vancouver homes in the past, older flushing toilets and wood-burning fireplaces, to name a few.
As of 2014, all new buildings have been built with levers instead of knobs, in an effort to phase out the old design. It is mainly meant to aid people living with disabilities and arthritis, but also helps the elderly or those carrying things in their hands, like groceries. The ban was part of a bylaw to make housing more accessible, which also mandated bigger hallways, higher outlets, and wider staircases for possible stair lift installation. Number 1. Ketchup, banned by France.
Ketchup. Just like my mom puts on her spaghetti, baby.
This ban might be the most baffling of them all. As of 2011, ketchup has been banned in school cafeterias in France. The reason for the prohibition, according to National Association of Directors of Collective Restaurants chairman Christophe Hébert, is to preserve French culture. Luckily, French fries aren't a traditional French meal, so kids won't have to suffer through eating plain potato sticks, which they can only have once a week. Hébert sees ketchup as too American and wants children to learn native French recipes and pass them down to their kids. He also believes ketchup covers up the taste of their fine cuisine. Do you live in a country where any of these items are outlawed? Just how tightly enforced are those bans? Let us know in the comments below.
He said, "Are you aware that Kinder eggs are illegal in the United States and carry a $2,500 fine per egg, and I actually laughed.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.